And turn. Guys doing okay? It's narrow here. So we're downtown in TX. The square is pandemonium in a good way. In the U.S., in Washington, we have Leavenworth. If Leavenworth wasn't like totally fake, if it was actually a real thing, what they had going on there, instead of just a tourist facade, it would be kind of like this. It would be kind of like a town square on a nice, warm spring weekend in, is it spring? Because it's basically always spring here and I lose track. They just rung the church bells. It's Sunday. Sunday is usually market day in the cities in Mexico. So not only is this a touristy area, not a gringo's touristy area, but a touristy area for Mexicans. Oh, there's people dancing. How cool is that? Look, Anna, there's dancing over here. Want to go see? So yeah, they're having a good time down here this evening. People enjoying their freedom down here that we no longer have in the USA. So it's always interesting as I walk around. There's problems. It's not perfect. It's not pure freedom. I don't know if there's any such thing as a country with that, but it's not a nation run by a psychotic government and sponsored by fake patriots who pretend that waving a flag is freedom and that doing what you're told and bowing down to a court of tyrants and traitors and terrorists is courage. Never let them tell you that. Never let someone tell you you abandoned freedom because you refused to comply with tyrants. The USA is dead because we didn't stand up for the rights of our neighbors that offended us. But down here, there's still a spark. There's still a spark. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Actually, there is a cross in the town square. How can that? How are we going to survive this? One thing you'll notice, and it's hard to describe on a video, but as soon as you come here, if you guys come down and visit, the moment you cross the line, okay, the moment you get out of the USA, whether temporarily or permanently, as soon as you cross that line, you realize how much of a fascist nation the USA is and how we have no freedom. You can feel it in the air. You can see it in people's behavior. You can see it in the fact that cops don't murder people on the side of the road every day, and that people don't worry about selling tacos on the street or their kids selling lemonade. Or in just driving around town this Sunday afternoon, I've seen no less than 2 people with their families in the car, and their little 2-3-year-old kids were sitting in Dad's lap in the front seat helping him drive, all right? This is in the middle of a busy, quote, tourist city, right? Imagine doing that in Leavenworth, Washington, right? Or in the Smoky Mountains. What's that town below the Smoky Mountains, right? They would nail you so fast and give you your $300 ticket for endangering your children. The difference is, a little bit of resistance. It's a people that say, no, police don't get to talk down to us and kick us around and beat us. We don't tolerate that. It's very different. Es muy tranquilos aquí. You can see that people are very laid back, and Querétaro State, which is where we are, in general is very laid back. But there are many. Honestly, I've been in lots of towns where you go down to the square in the evening and everybody's just having a good time and enjoying themselves, and yeah, the skies. You'll notice it's getting dark, but you'll notice the complete absence of of trails in the sky, and that's pretty much the norm here. There's areas you get down by Mexico City or the industrial areas, and sure, they have their smog problems and stuff too because there's much less regulation here. But in general, very good. So, anyways, we're gonna hop on the bicicletas and we're gonna go work our way, get back to the rig, and get back home. But we've had a nice. Do you have anything you want to say to the people? Speak to the people.
I need to go potty.
Yeah, never let someone tell you that waving a flag is freedom and obeying terrorists in a courtroom is courage. We don't have to walk into a gas chamber. We don't have to play their game. And we won't have freedom until people stop playing that game, all right? It's not getting fixed because people don't love their neighbor. We've lost all our freedom in the U.S. because we failed to defend it for those we don't like. Because if you won't defend freedom for those you don't like, you will never have it for yourself and for those you love. That's just the way it works. You have to stand up for the speech you don't like, for the truths you don't like, or the non-truths even you don't like, for the right of people to have those opinions. You have to stand up for life, liberty, and property, not for restriction because it makes your neighborhood nicer, right? Not for force at the point of a gun. The guns aren't going to save us in the USA. I mean, obviously, you guys know I support gun rights and all that kind of stuff, but that's not going to save us. The so-called gun rights organizations could care less about gun rights. They care about membership, particularly the large national ones. The so-called threepers and patriots that are always saying more guns, more guns, more guns. Great, more guns, but they're never going to use them because they're worshiping and saying to comply with the very people who are taking their guns right now today under the Trump administration. So as the gun restrictions increase in the USA, and we see that pattern in history repeating itself, what happens? When Obama was in office and guns were being restricted, people were outraged, but the patriots, right? Now that Trump's in office and he's going after your guns, they just make excuses. And this is the problem with faction. It's the problem with failing to defend liberty and putting your party and your faction and your bias and your hate for whatever, right? Muslims, brown people, liberals, whatever it is, putting that before freedom and justice and liberty for all is why we've lost. So there are no more gun rights in the USA. You have a few gun privileges that are quickly dwindling away. And bear in mind, here's a closing thought for you as we settle on this beautiful evening down here where there's so much more freedom than in the USA. The very people who call me a coward for refusing to comply with a court that was trying to use force to make me incriminate myself and to trying to terrorize my family and endangering me, the same people calling me names for refusing to comply with them are the ones saying that guns will save us. The same people saying bow before the police and the judges are the redcoats saying do gun rights our way or not at all. They're not patriots. They're not ever going to use the guns except for against people who defend liberty. They're loyalists, and we have a lot of those. Don't let yourself be deceived. Step outside of that box. Speak out for liberty. Set aside your faction. The parties aren't going to save us. The games aren't going to save us. An appeal to heaven and a righteous, principled stand, loving our neighbor. That's our only hope, and most people that do that will be forced, I believe, to leave. If the USA ever returns, it probably won't be until after it crumbles to ash. Guys, be peace. Never walk into that gas chamber. Stand up, love your neighbor, never be the lynch mob. And you know what, even if you're not quite at that place yet, at least come down here. Come down here. Take a little vacation. Get a little bit of taste of freedom so we can see what we've thrown away in the USA. Peace, guys.